In 1859, one man launched a violent raid that shocked the United States. Some people called him a terrorist, others called him a hero. His name was John Brown, and his actions helped push a deeply divided nation closer to civil war. John Brown was born in 1800 and raised in a strict religious household. That taught him slavery was morally wrong. From a young age, he did not simply see slavery as unfair, he saw it as a sin. While many people in his time opposed slavery through speeches, newspapers, or politics, Brown believed words alone would never be enough. He felt that if something was truly evil, it had to be confronted directly, even if that confrontation led to violence. What made his story even more striking was that John Brown was a white American fighting aggressively against slavery, at a time when many white citizens either supported it or chose silence. This contrast made him stand out sharply. To some, he represented moral courage that crossed racial and social boundaries. To others, he appeared as a traitor to his own society, a man willing to destroy the order they believed in. His identity made his actions more controversial and, in the eyes of many, more dangerous. As he grew older, his beliefs intensified. Supporters viewed him as principled and fearless, a man willing to sacrifice everything for human freedom. Critics saw him as unstable and extreme, someone whose actions could spiral into chaos. To John Brown, however, the issue was simple. Slavery had to end, no matter the cost, and hesitation was a form of complicity. Years before his most famous act, Brown had already earned a reputation during violent conflicts in a territory known as Bleeding Kansas. Pro-slavery and anti-slavery settlers clashed in what was supposed to be a political debate, but had turned into open warfare. Brown and his followers carried out deadly attacks against pro-slavery men, believing they were preventing a greater injustice from spreading. These incidents left families grieving and communities terrified. His name began appearing in newspapers, whispered in conversations, and carried across state lines. To some, he was a defender. To others, he was a warning. By the time 1859 arrived, John Brown was no longer an unknown activist. He was already a figure surrounded by tension and fear. And then he made the decision that would define his legacy forever. Brown led a small group of men to Harpers Ferry, Virginia, where a federal armory stored thousands of weapons. His plan was bold and risky. He intended to seize the weapons and spark a massive slave uprising that would spread across the South. He believed that once enslaved people had the means to fight back, slavery itself would begin to collapse. For a brief moment, it seemed possible. But the moment did not last. Local militia quickly surrounded the area, and soon United States Marines arrived. Trapped inside the armory with nowhere to escape, Brown and his followers were overwhelmed after a short but violent confrontation. The raid failed, but its shockwaves spread across the entire country. Americans were no longer arguing only with words. The conflict had taken physical form. John Brown was put on trial for treason, murder, and inciting rebellion. Throughout the proceedings, he remained calm and unapologetic. He did not deny what he had done. Instead, he defended it, stating that he believed he was fighting for justice and human freedom. His composure impressed some observers and disturbed others. To many, he appeared brave and unshaken. To others, he seemed dangerously certain that his personal beliefs justified deadly action. He was found guilty and sentenced to death. In December of 1859, John Brown was executed by hanging. News of his death spread rapidly through newspapers and public gatherings. In the northern states, some mourned him as a martyr who gave his life to challenge slavery. In the southern states, many saw him as proof that violent rebellion was rising and that their entire way of life was under threat. His death did not quiet the nation, it divided it even further. Even after his execution, his influence continued. Soldiers in the Union Army would later march to songs that mentioned his name, while others used his story as a warning about the dangers of extremism. He became both a symbol of resistance and a symbol of fear, depending on who was telling the story. John Brown's legacy remains one of the most debated in American history. He did not end slavery, but his actions intensified the tensions that soon erupted into the American Civil War. More than a century later, historians, teachers, and students still wrestle with the same question that echoed during his lifetime. Was John Brown a hero who stood against injustice when others remained silent? Or a villain who believed violence was the only path to change? And if a cause is morally right, does that automatically justify the methods used to fight for it? History rarely offers simple answers. But John Brown's life forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Sometimes one person's conviction can inspire hope in some hearts, fear in others, and consequences that reshape an entire nation.